At the end of the last video, we attempted to deploy our contract. Hopefully you saw a message like this appear on the screen. So something that says contract deployed to something. This right here is the address of our deployed contract. So this is where it exists on the Rinkeby test network now. At this point, you might be saying, okay, well, that's great. We deployed it to Rinkeby, what good is that to us? Well, in an ideal world, if we had some idea of how to interface with these contracts from a web application, we could then build some HTML application or HTML, JavaScript, CSS application that could somehow interact with this contract. And that's exactly what we're going to do starting in the next section. So we don't quite have those skills just yet, but we're going to start to write another contract. We're going to deploy it in the same fashion, and then we'll learn how to interact with these contracts from a normal web page. But before we do, there are two kind of interesting things I want to show you. Two things that are kind of fun, at least I think, to interact with your contract and get a sense of what just happened. I'm going to open up my web browser, and I'm going to show you a little tool that's a lot of fun to work with to kind of take a look at your contract and see what it's doing on the actual Rinkeby network. So in my browser, I'm going to navigate to rinkeby.etherscan.io. And of course, I'm going to put this nice and large for you to read. There we go. So rinkeby.etherscan.io. Etherscan is a website that reads all transactions that flow into the Rinkeby network, the main network, the Kovan network, and the Ropsten networks. It reads in all these transactions and records them here for you to see on an easy to view web page. Up at the very top right hand side, you'll see a search box. So this allows us to look at any account address that belongs to the Rinkeby network, any transaction, or any block number that has been committed. So we can use this tool to not only look at our accounts as they exist on Rinkeby, but we can also look at our deployed contract as well. This web page, Etherscan, can be used with any of these accounts, or excuse me, with any of our networks. So right now we are connected to Rinkeby, but if we wanted to flip on over to the main network, we could go just as easily to www.etherscan.io. And then we should see at the very top, well, somewhere on here, essentially this is the page for the main network. I think in this case it doesn't actually specify that this is the main network, but it is. So let's go back over to Rinkeby, and then I'm going to go and grab our address for our contract from the terminal. So here's my address. I'll copy it, and then I'm going to paste it into the search bar at the top right hand side. And do make sure that you are on the Rinkeby test network here. We can click go, and then it will show us some details about our newly deployed contract. So you can see very simply right here, here is the transaction that was used to deploy the contract. Here's what block number it was included into. Here's the age of the contract, and here's the person or the address or the account that was used to deploy it. Over time, if we start to modify our contract in some fashion by using some other tool, we can come back here and see a list of other transactions that have been sent to this contract. And we can look at those transactions and get a better idea of what they're doing. We can also take a look at some details about this contract itself on the tab Contract Code. Over here, you can get a glance at the actual bytecode that is used for this contract. So yes, the code for your contract is essentially publicly available. Now, whether or not you can divine a lot of meaning from this bytecode right here is kind of up to you, but certainly there are tools to kind of deobfuscate what's going on. And if you want to, you can even click on this button right here that says Switch to Opcodes View, and this puts it into a much more readable format that can at least give you some idea of what the contract does. So again, I just wanted to show you this tool because it's a great little thing to just get a better idea of what's going on with the Rinkeby network and see exactly who is interacting with your contracts. Now at this point, like I said, in the ideal world, we would have some type of web application that we could use to interact with our contract. But before we go that far, there's one other way that we can interact with our contract as it has been deployed to Rinkeby right now. So let's continue in the next video, and I'm going to show you that tool that we can use to interact with our newly deployed contract. So quick break, and we'll tackle that in the next video.